Hello again, Glenn, Wogscapes, and the board is finally primed. So let's start off with some money shots. Here we go. So I've mentioned this in other videos before. This is my favorite part of the process when all that work finally comes together, right? Before you prime it, again, you can still see the materials, and it's hard to see past the materials. Once you get that first layer of prime on, then now you got your blank slate. You can think more about how you're going to be painting it. But hopefully the materials melt away at that point in time, right? So you're just seeing the three-dimensional, the shape of the thing. So here we are here. I'm going to do another video on layout and just on layout and how I figure out where and how and why to put stuff, what is too much stuff, what's not enough stuff. So some features I want to be able to point out here. We were doing this a little bit earlier. Here's the foundations and the dirt rubble, dust, gravel stuff, which is going to bleed into this kind of cracked earth, which has larger craters in it. A couple of over here, like larger holes as well. Now, of course, this for gameplay, this is going to be terrible for losing your dice or cocked dice. So this is going to be filled in with resin to look like it's filled up with the goo that is coming down from here, working its way from the higher elevations down lower. Then that moves over into the larger mountain piece here, which is mostly rocky. A couple little nurgly features like the maw growing out of the stone. There's two cave entrances. Right, number one, number two. And we've got the piles of skulls that are kind of spilling over the edge. Just try and hold this still for you here. Spilling over the edge, as well as up on top here, these piles of skulls. Pile of skull A, pile of skull B. And same thing, this is going to be filled up with resin so that you're not worried about snapping off the little pieces or again losing your dice or wobbly models or anything like that in there. So here's a view from the high ground. Now, it's kind of hard to see if you don't move, I don't think. Here we go. Right on. So the other thing I want to mention, this is a good point for me to stop and find the flaws. Again, before when it's just the materials, you're just seeing the materials. Now you can look for, problems I thought were taken care of, but I guess aren't. So let's find a good example. There's one on the other side. We're going to the other side. Okay, so over here, it's not too bad, but this one chunk of bark that I built into the stone here, it's got these straight cuts on it. And it's a little too obvious that it's just a chunk of something that was cut. It doesn't look like a natural crack. So that I want to fill in and texture to look like it's just all one piece. I don't mind that one over there. Maybe that little hole in there. Right, just some couple little pieces here and there. Some areas where I used foam and it's kind of bubbled up. I don't know if I mind this because it kind of goes, or at least this one down here, because it kind of looks like part of this maw and it's something oozing out of the ground. Up here, I'm not too sure. Here, I don't like this at all. That looks like, yeah, you had your board, you had your foam, you had your bark, and you just stuck them together. So that needs to be covered up and incorporated a little better. Back over here as well. Here's that board, and there's the seam where the two are put together, but you can see that seam, so that needs to be covered up. Somehow textured, covered up. As well, the texture on here. I'm really liking, this is a technique with PVA glue and super glue, where you just paint on the PVA glue and you put drops of super glue on it. And let's get a close up of that. Yeah, you get these really neat wormy burn hole things. I don't know what to call them, but I really think it works with the theme here. Right, here's another spot. I don't like how that's bubbling out. Got to incorporate that better. So next step, smaller details, a little bit of cleanup, prime over top of that, and then we're ready to paint. Right on. All right, thanks for watching.